Welcome to today's NRRA School Recycling Club Town and Gown Workshop Module STAR Assessment Webinar. Welcome community educators and environmental ambassadors. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about the NRRA School Club programs, as well as the NRRA programs. Development of this presentation is credited in part to the USDA Rural Development Programs. Program goals are to cross-train solid waste facility operators and school staff in rural communities of Vermont and New Hampshire on the importance of indoor air quality and proper supply purchasing, such as no VOC paints and cleaning supplies. Number 2 is to take down the wall that can exist between town and schools by encouraging increased cooperation in waste reduction and pollution prevention programs that benefit the entire community. And 3, expand participation in NRRA's education programs through online learning. Thanks to the USDA Rural Development Programs, this program training is free. The goal of the program is for trained participants to work together on creating a safer environment, knowledgeable staff on the proper storage and handling of hazardous materials, and working in conjunction on solid waste issues. After viewing the webinar, please complete the webinar evaluation to help us understand your knowledge of solid and hazardous wastes. Once you submit the evaluation, you will receive a confirmation email with a certificate of completion. You will need to email us in order to receive the evaluation link for this webinar. You can email us at info@nrra.net. If you have any technical difficulties during this webinar, or if you have questions in general, please email or call us at any time. And you can reach us at 603-736-4401. So about NRRA. In 1981, there were 4 New Hampshire municipalities that came together called the New Hampshire Resource Recovery Association to provide a clearinghouse for current up-to-date information and source of technical and marketing assistance in the general areas of waste reduction and recycling. In 1995, the organization was then amended to be called the Northeast Resource Recovery Association, and they are still providing this source of technical assistance and marketing assistance today. The NRRA coverage area is Vermont, New Hampshire, Southern Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and any NRRA member town. The School Recycling Club is the education arm of the NRRA. The school club works with generally K-12 schools in the areas of waste reduction and recycling. School club membership is free to New Hampshire schools, thanks to New Hampshire the Beautiful. And any other school that's interested should give us a call if you have any questions about it or would like to sign up to be a member. These workshops here, they're available for the NRRA School Recycling Club staff to come into your school and provide these education. The school technical assistance includes green cleaning and indoor air quality evaluation and review. We also do a trash on the lawn day, which is a waste audit for the school, and a STAR assessment, which looks at recycling, working with administrators and school recycling volunteers. If you're interested in any of these programs, please give us a call, please email us. These will also be available as webinars online to be able to learn how these programs work in the school. Among the school workshops just mentioned, solid waste facility operator trainings will be available to both operators and educators as part of this grant's effort to cross-train. These trainings will be available online to view and eligible for professional development credit. We have Operator Smackdown, Things That Go Boom, China Sword, Current Marketing Trends and Recycling, Vermont Act 148, this applies to Vermont, and the Dirt on Dirt about municipal recycling, and then processed glass aggregate, a certified waste-derived product. So what is the purpose of the STAR assessment here today? So again, we'll be providing, learning how to provide a baseline tool for recycling. And the purpose is to take a look at your school is currently doing with trash and recycling, to measure the involvement of school staff and students, to make suggestions for improvement by reducing waste and increasing recycling, to set goals for the future, to instruct your students on the importance of recycling to environmental stewardship, to save money by reducing hauling costs. So there are 5 points to the STAR that you can see here. But first, there's a pre-assessment that needs to be done in order to collect information and save some time before going in the school. We then have a result section at the end as well. So the 5 points include collection, which is a review, includes measuring both waste and recycling dumpster capacities and frequency of pickups, along with all other recycling collection methods within the school. We then have education, which is a key element to the school assessment, identifies who is receiving recycling education and how often. Move on to participation, which goes further into reviewing stakeholder groups, school culture, and support groups, such as a recycling club or PTO. And then we have motivation, which is measured by such efforts as poster contests, assemblies, speakers, and celebrations. And then we look at the evaluation aspect, identifying the strengths and weaknesses of the school's programs. And then, so those are the 5 points of the STARs you can see here. And then we'll have a result produced in the form of this graphic, the 5 elements. Sustainability is the ultimate goal, and a write-up is generated summarizing how that might best be met in the future. So this is the cover page of the STAR assessment. And I just want to note that this was created and revised by Heather Greenwood, who was a grad student at Antioch University, and she helped create this assessment for us. So the assessment field document that either NRRA staff or a teacher would be taking into school. So it comes with an instruction page, which you should review before you do a STAR assessment. So it's basically an outline of what we're talking about today, but you can refer back to it at any time. The visit notes. Use this note section to write down extra information on the school's waste program. There may be information that isn't waste related, but good to know, such as other environmental projects happening at the school. Be sure to write everything down because it's harder to recall later after the tour is complete. We then go into the pre-assessment, which we talked about, and here you'll try and get as much information as possible before the day of the recycling assessment. This will save time and will help you identify the key stakeholders that will provide the most accurate information to you. A school may not be using a town transfer station, but if there is a transfer station, as you can see right here, the transfer station section, try and gather as much information as possible if the school town does have one. Then looking down at materials collected at the transfer station, again, you just want to make a note of what is collected if you do, or if your town collects in another way, you can mark down what is collected at the on the town level. And then at the bottom here, the school waste generation potential. So this is an interesting piece of information to have. Calculating the school waste potential will help in a couple of ways. First, the generation potential will give a broad picture of what an average school produces in waste. Total waste generation is all of the waste, including organic, paper, plastic, metal, and any other waste that a school may generate. These numbers come from the state of California that ran a study on student waste generation, and they may not reflect what an individual school is generating precisely, but gives baseline data to work from. So then we move on to the ranking guide, which isn't in the STAR assessment field, the field assessment, but this guide is important as it will help you rank the school. It's a tool to rank each section of the assessment. Normally you wouldn't carry the ranking guide during the tour, as there isn't enough time usually to sit down with it, but take good notes and study the ranking guide beforehand to know what you are looking for. After the tour of the school, you can go through each section and make sure you ranked everything properly using this guide. So as an example, in the collection section, which we will be looking at, you would be ranking each section 1 through 5. So 1 is usually a limited or ineffective ranking, and 5 is exemplary. So here we have the collection portion where we're looking at how each type of commodity or material is recycled. For example, a school has single stream recycling, which you will see highlighted here at the top. So you'll start up here. If a school does have single stream, go to that column and rank each section starting with containers. So starting here. And again, thinking about that ranking guide, a 1 through 5 ranking in each section here. Does the bin have restrictive openings? Are there bins placed next to trash barrels? Are the bin sized correctly for the location? Make sure to take pictures of the sample bins and recycling areas. Will help in the post-assessment process when sitting down with this ranking guide. And just make a note that the information about Act 148 is the universal recycling law for Vermont, and other states may carry similar laws, but pay attention to the school's state recycling laws to know what is mandatory. And the other section is where schools submit a waste hauler invoice. That'd be right here. If you can get the school to give you a waste hauler invoice, it's extra credit, something you can try and get before the STAR assessment. This is used to calculate how much the school is paying in waste hauler fees and if any changes can be made to lower that cost. Under the possible collection section, which is right below, you note where recycling is collected in the school, so where exactly those recycling bins are located. Consider if there should be a bin in places like the hallway. So right here, the second one down here, you want to consider, so should there be a collection here? So if there isn't bins in the hallway, there aren't bins located there, you'll fill in that circle there. And then below, if it is collected there, you will mark there. So it's either should be collected there or is collected there. And then you go make your way down the list. If having a recycling bin in the hallway or location isn't feasible for the school, or if it simply does not exist, then don't fill in should be collected here, so that the school doesn't lose points for something that they aren't able to control if it's a policy at the school. So here are two examples of collection at schools. School number 1 here is one located in a cafeteria, and as you can see, each bin is labeled with pictures and words and is well marked here. So there should be no mistake of what should go where. That's something to look at when you're visiting the school. School number 2 has recycling bins in the hallway, but as you can see that there's no labeling. Looks like it's filled with water bottles at the moment, but we want to make sure that we're properly labeling our recycling bins so you don't get food in there or things that you don't want. So we'd probably give this one a 1 as far as ranking. So looking at collection methods now, the custodian may have some of this information for you. They will know which company picks up the waste and how often. This will be under the school disposal rates, frequency, and practices. The business office, front office, or head of facilities will probably have the trash recycling bill, which will give you the cost, which will be reviewed by NRRA staff to find potential savings. So again, that's that waste hauler invoice that we're looking for. While at school, have your tour guide bring you to the recycling and trash dumpsters, if available, to see what size, type, and quantity there are. So I'll be looking at containers used at the school. Look inside the dumpster to see if there are any signs of potential issues with what is going into the dumpster. Find out if there are any special collections such as textile recycling, composting, or using another vendor such as TerraCycle. Know what kind of bins are in use and inside the school as well, so you'll mark down there here. And finally, who is responsible for recycling collection? So that'll be under stakeholder roles in collection of materials. Sometimes the students help out by bringing recycling from the classroom to a centralized location. So you'll just mark yes or no who is responsible for the different activities that go on. So here we're looking at examples of collection methods as well, kind of the end where everything ends up. So looking at these dumpsters, they have a recycling and a trash dumpster. And when you take a peek inside, the recycling, the picture on the left is a school that has everything loose, so that's how most companies like their recycling, is just dumped in loose. The picture on the right is bagged recycling. It looks really neat and keeps things kind of tidy, but those bags will cause difficulty at the materials recovery facility where machines sort out recycling, and these bags jam up the machines, which causes a shutdown of the process. So just want to keep that in mind as well as you're looking at how schools are handling their recycling. So some schools are starting to add composting to their collections. These 2 compost sheds are made to collect larger amounts of organics such as food waste from the school. And so we can give you an idea of how this can be possible at your school, or if it's possible, we also have various training and workshops called Back to the Earth, which handles how to compost at school. The education section examines how well the school is educating each stakeholder group. Education at collection sites, it is right here. Examines how well the school is educating each stakeholder group. Education at collection sites is looking to see if there are physical signs at point of collection to help students and staff sort correctly. Stakeholders are each type of group that would be involved at the school, such as students, staff, faculty, facilities, food service, parents, and sometimes the town. Stars are awarded if you see something exceptional, and this goes throughout this guide here happening at the school. For example, under education and outreach, signs at waste stations, which is right below here. A school may not have signs at every waste location, so maybe they will get a 3. But at the waste stations that have signs, there are clear, distinct, creative signs that you want to reward them for their effort. So we would give them a 5 and a star. We'll give them extra points. Recycling education can take many forms, but these 2 examples are some of the ways recycling can be worked into the school culture. The photo on the left is located in a school cafeteria where there are bright, colorful signs showing which items go to the landfill, which can be recycled and which can be composted. Signage not only helps with preventing contamination, but can educate about solid waste. The photo on the right shows a group of students giving their peers recycling trivia during a recycling event. Having students take leadership and teach other students about waste can have a large impact. Need more education ideas? NRRA now has solid waste curricula for sale. K-12 lesson plans with fun, creative ways to integrate solid waste into the classroom. And feel free to contact us about these. Participation section looks at how each stakeholder group is involved with the recycling program, if they are active members of the school recycling club, and if there is an organized group that meets regularly. So again, look through each section and you'll be ranking the stakeholders, how they're involved, school culture and climate, and then some more extra credit pieces here about how involved the recycling club is. The motivation section is looking to see if the school has created measurable goals for the recycling program, offer incentives or rewards for meeting or exceeding goals, or rewarding students for participation in any special events or celebrations throughout the year. So starting up here with goal setting, goals help establish a way to track progress for the program. Set goals that work for your school's current and future needs, and start small and work up to large goals. Incentives, so looking at for offering different ways to get teachers and students involved. And not every program needs incentives. Can be as simple as fun activities for students that participate, a means to create a positive atmosphere around recycling and not a job or a chore. And then if there are any events and celebrations that are currently happening at the school, such as Earth Day or Earth Week, America Recycles Day, litter pickup events, and of course we want to be celebrating accomplishments, rewarding people for their efforts. So another important aspect here is evaluating the program year to year. Evaluation builds up the motivation section. Here you are looking how a school compares with other school recycling programs and if any clear goals are made each year. Jot down some strengths and weaknesses to help make some recommendations in the report, as well as praise them for what they are doing well. Results are recorded onto an Excel spreadsheet where points are tallied for each question. NRRA school club staff will input the results and follow up if there are any questions or clarifications needed. So how does this all work? Once you have completed your field notes, send them to NRRA, who will produce the final report, including your school's 5-point star. There will be a nominal fee to produce the report. Share the results with your students, staff, and stakeholders, of course. It's very important for everyone to know how they're improving year to year. Consider doing another star the following year to measure your progress, and then celebrate your decision to improve school recycling. After the points are entered into the spreadsheet, the star will show how well the school is doing for each section. So it's worked out by percentage. The STAR report provides the results of the STAR field assessment and gives recommendations to the school. Page 1 gives the overall score for each section of the assessment and how it looks on the STAR graph. The graph shows which areas the school did well in and which areas need improvement. To interpret the scores, see the ranges and their definitions. For example, 75 to 100% is a super sustainable school. The next 2 pages show who was involved in the tour and provided information for the report, what the school is currently doing, what was especially notable, and a list of recommendations for the future. The last pages help explain how the points were scored in case a school is interested, how they came to getting their score. So what happens next? Contact the NRRA School Recycling Club to find out how your school can participate in the STAR assessment. New Hampshire schools who are members are eligible for discounts through New Hampshire the Beautiful. And of course, to find out more, contact us at theclub@nrra.net. So I wanted to thank you for participating in one of NRRA's school club modules. You may use this information in your classroom, part of an exercise on waste reduction. We hope you enjoyed the presentation and consider joining the NRRA School Recycling Club.